Welcome back again to the lecture of database design part. We initially seen the database management system component of DSS, and now we are into the details of the how to design and the need of a database and when to use a database, when not to use a database, etc. so that we can move into how to design a database. So, let us look into the slide today without any further delay. Why use a DBMS? When to use a database management system? Again for a DSS standpoint. Okay. The first point is control redundancy in data storage, okay, development and maintenance efforts. Okay. Avoid redundancy and duplication. Okay. So, you do not want to store it all over the place, you just store it at one particular location, right, and then take care of it. Then comes the second one, okay, sharing of data among multiple users. Okay. That is, you have many users and you want to share the data among them. Okay. Then you want to restrict unauthorized access to the data. Okay. So, you do not want anybody accessing the data without any authorization. Okay. So, then provide persistent storage of program objects and its data structures. Okay. This is predominantly meant for object oriented DBMS. Okay. Persistent storage of program objects and its data structures. Right. Then comes is provide storage structures for efficient query processing. Okay. When you want to retrieve the data or you want to query the data to extract whatever is relevant to you, how can you do it quickly and efficiently? Then provide backup and recovery capabilities. So, you want the database or system crashes, can you recover it as part of this, right? Then provide multiple interfaces to different class of users. Okay. Provide multiple interface to different class of users. Then complex relationship among data. Okay. Capture complex representation. So, marketing data, that kind of stuff, right. Then other thing also is that ensuring integrity of the database. So, you whatever you have, you kind of ensure that this is what you want. So, there are so many other uses, but from a DSS standpoint, these are the major reasons why we end up or why we like to use a database, okay, or a DBMS. Okay. Now, the next question what we have is when not to use a DBMS. Okay. So, there are many again, but let us take 4 major aspects. If the overhead costs are high. Okay. So, what do you mean by high overhead cost? High initial investment in hardware, software training. So, you need to think then if you are putting very large investment in this, is it worth it? Okay. Then the other part is cost of providing generality, security, recovery, integrity, etc. Okay. These are nice things, generality, security, recovery, etc. are all nice, integrity are nice, but what is the cost of doing it? That also you need to consider. So, if these overhead costs are extremely high compared to the benefits you are going to get out of it, then you may do not want to use a DBMS. Okay. Second one is, if the database and the application are simple, okay, well defined and not expected to change. Okay. So, if it is a very simple thing, the database and the application is also very simple, it is very well defined and you do not expect it to change frequently or do not even expect it to change, then maybe you do not need a database. You can just embed all the thing into the program, or you can put a file and then access it with the program. If there are stringent real time requirements, okay, that cannot be met due to overheads of DBMS. Okay. So, DBMS, because it is a program, it will take its own time to run and memory and etc. And the real time requirements of the application is so important that you may not want to use the DBMS like an autopilot in an aircraft. Okay. That is a good example of this. Okay. If access, okay, by multiple users are not required. If they are not, it is only a single user and there is no multiple user or anything of the sort, then it is probably better that you probably do not need a DBMS, you can just get away with a simple file. Okay. So, now let us talk about database example, and we will be using this example. This is an example adapted from the textbook of El Masri and Navate, which is one of the mandatory textbooks in this class. And what we are going to do is, remember UOD, we mentioned what is UOD. UOD stands for universe of discourse, okay, the part of the universe that we are interested in, and that is the a company environment, a part of a company environment is what we are interested in it. Okay. So, for us there is some UOD entities for us. Okay. The major UOD entities are, number one is employees, okay. Second one is departments, okay. Then projects, okay. Then dependents of employees. Okay. So, these are some of the major entities. Okay. We will talk about what are entities and other things, and some UOD relationships. So, remember we talked about relational database RDBMS, right. So, what are the major relationships? So, some of them is employees are of specific departments. Okay. This is a one relation we want to capture, right, one relation. Then projects projects are associated with departments. Okay. Then employees may have dependents. Okay. So, like this. So, in our case, I am just giving you a simple example where we can talk about 4 entities: employees, departments, projects, and dependents of employees as 4, and then many relationships do exist between the entities. So, in one way to think about it, these entities are something that you can physically identify. We will talk about what is an entity and those kind of definitions in the coming class, but it is better to have an example in front of us and discuss or talk about that example. Okay. And we will also talk about an entity relationship diagram. Okay. So, in the coming class. So, this discussion will lead into entity relationship diagram, popularly known as ER diagram, okay, which is a tool to do database design. Okay. So, we will talk about how this database design and etcetera happen, but keep this universe of discourse example in your mind, because we will be referring to this example through in the next few classes, so that you can understand how we design the database, how do we identify entity, how do we identify relationships, and translate that into a relational database design, that in which you will store the data, which can be created by different processes and access it by different models of the decision support system through the help of user interface, and then appropriate decisions can be made. So, this concludes the this presentation, and thank you for your patient hearing. We will continue in the next class on the advanced topics of this. Thank you very much.